Hello and welcome. My name is Leah, and I normally do a podcast called the Eventual Knits Podcast. I am mixing it up today. I'm trying something new, and this is all inspired by another podcaster that I follow, and I consider a online friend of mine, Michelle of My So-Called Handmade Life. Michelle talked about, or has talked about, something that she calls famous knits. And she sort of defined it as knits that are inspiring or have inspired you to try to recreate for your own self, or something that is a style that you really like that maybe you wouldn't do the exact same thing, but maybe you like the shape or maybe you like the design and you would want to try to make something like that for yourself, or just something that's really cool that is a knit. And when I say knit, I am meaning knit as well as crochet. Knit just sort of like encompasses everything here, and we are absolutely not excluding crochet here at all. I hope you will forgive me in that I made this whole thing in Canva, and it is a portrait size, and so I'm going to try to be, instead of in presentation mode, which I already recorded, I didn't even think about the fact that it would just be portrait size, and that is not conducive for YouTube whatsoever. I am now retrying it, recording using a different app. So I'm not in the present mode. I am in the sort of edit mode. So hopefully I can move around. It will allow me to zoom in and out around things because I really want to show you some of these knits. This is going to be a 3-part series of famous knits. So we're starting today with TV shows and ignore my hair here. With TV shows, we're also going to do movies and video games. So I'm really excited to talk to you about these, and let's get to it. So I'm just going to scroll right on down here. One of the most iconic shows for just fashion in general, in my opinion. I guess I don't know if I don't actually watch all that much TV, so I could be way off here. But my perception is Sex and the City / And Just Like That are very iconic for their high-end fashion. They use a ton of different styles within the show, and Carrie in particular is, I would say, generally really out there. I didn't really pick any of her out there outfits so much, but a lot of those are not knits anyway. But she does have some really nice knits. And so the first one I wanted to call out is this sort of like pink sweater. So let's see if I can zoom in here. Can I? I can. So I'm going to zoom in. This pink sweater, so it kind of looks like it's textured, highly textured. Is this like a linen stitch? Like a broken linen stitch? It kind of looks like a broken linen stitch, just sort of based upon the like bars. I don't think it's a Tunisian crochet. It's a raglan. It has a nice folded, what is that? Is that a 2x2 rib? Yep. So highly textured, super fun. I wouldn't probably knit it nearly as narrow at the waist, but it definitely seems like the kind of thing I would love to knit. I shouldn't say that. I would hate knitting this, to be honest. I love, love, love the look of texture, but if it's something that I have to remember and pay attention to, I hate making it. But I do love the end product, so I would suffer through it, and I don't have as much against linen stitch as I used to. Anything that requires you to constantly move back and forth really annoys me because it's slowing down. And so, did I say broken linen? I wonder if this is just straight linen stitch. I'm words. Anyway, so this is a really fun sweater. I particularly enjoy like how long the ribbing is on the hem. It's just, it makes it like a part of the sweater instead of just like the end edging. And I love that there are like little pops of color. It shows that it's not necessarily just a straight commercial yarn. And yeah, I found that one very fun. This next one here over on, let's see if I can, I don't know if I can move over. anymore. I cannot. So I'll just zoom back out a little bit. There we go. Over here on the right is this sweater. What is this? Let me. So yeah, it's a garter sweater. It looks like there is no regard for the color change. So is this okay? This is reverse stockinette, isn't it? Yes, it looks like it is, because it specifically has the color changes showing. This really struck me because it's like the kind of sweater it's a scrappy sweater. It's literally just a scrappy sweater, a nice fall scrappy sweater. Very fun. I really, really like it. I'm gonna zoom back out. I love the gigantic sleeves. I like how cozy the collar looks. Nice. And I love a good fold over. I don't really like tight turtleneck styles, but I do like loose fold over ones for sure. I think it's just really uncommon. I mean, right? You look at it, you're like, whoa, this is inside out, but it's clearly not. And I really enjoy that look. And anyone who knows how to make a sweater, I feel like would really enjoy making a scrappy sweater with this, especially with such wide sleeves at the bottom. And what is this, drop shoulder? You could really do a lot with that. So that one really, really caught my eye. Very fun. This next one looks like a little cover-up for a swimsuit. I assume this is crochet. I don't know what kind of stitch that is, but it is very pleasing. And of course the color is also really nice. This, I could easily just see buying a, what is it, cotton probably, and making this nice little lace, whatever you call the things that you wear over swimsuits. Very fun. And this is, I believe, older Carrie in her 50s. So, you could still wear hot pink in your 50s. Down here, I went back and forth on whether or not to add this because it's probably not something I would ever make for myself, but I really like how feminine and lacy it is. I think it looks really like light and airy and, again, comfy. I'm really into like loose flowy things these days, and while I'm sure this is not, I shouldn't say I'm sure, but I feel like it's probably not a hand knit. I'm sure it's a machine knit, but I haven't really done a lot of intricate lace details whatsoever, and so I am always drawn to lace detail that other people do in their patterns, especially ones that are, I don't want to say this is complex, but it is a lot of lace, and so a mistake would be devastating. But anyway, I think this is gorgeous and just a very nice piece. And lastly, before I zoom back out, this online is referred to as like an Afghan / poncho, I think, or shawl. So she wears it as a shawl sometimes, and she is using it as a blanket, of course, in this scene. One thing that is interesting about Sex and the City is that even though it has tons and tons of high-end fashion, there are several pieces that are worn more than once in the show, especially layering pieces, which I like how it adds an additional layer of depth, right? Like, even with their high-end fashion, they don't necessarily just wear everything one single time, right? Like, I don't know if it's still the case now. I mean, I'm like old enough where none of that stuff matters to me, of course, but like, when I was growing up in like the late 90s, early 2000s, it was a huge faux pas to wear the same outfit like within the same like month. Obviously, I mean, I shouldn't say obviously, I didn't follow that because I didn't have enough clothes for that, and I also was like the right tier of like popular, where I wasn't so popular that I was held to the same standards as the popular kids, but I wasn't so uncool that I was teased at all or like called out for anything. I was like right in that sweet spot of like under the radar but not bullied, and yeah, so like that never applied to me, but I felt the pressure of that for sure. Like, I would definitely like not wear the same thing twice in 1 week, or something like that. But so even in shows like this, where the whole point of a lot of it is fashion, reusing articles of clothing on purpose, I just think it's a nice touch. It just shows the humanity of the show. I also really like that whatever she's wearing also looks knit, and it looks like it's maybe spelling something. Let's see, I can zoom out again a little bit. I don't know what, but or if it's just like random designs. It looks like it's spelling something. I don't know what, but very interesting. I know that this look is something you can find, like when I was doing my Google searches, you can find it. I do believe that this shawl Afghan has been recreated for sure, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. So again, very fun. I just love, like, I don't have any yarn like this, and I typically don't knit anything in like really thick yarns. I usually am making things in DK or lighter unless it's like a chunky hat. And so it's always fun to see these, like, definitely this would be a quicker chunky knit. And what's even nicer, it looks like, and is it is knit, right? It's not woven. Yeah. The not even weaving in ends or adding yarn at the end to make fringe. Really cool. So Carrie's not the only one who wears knits in the show. I also added other characters from And Just Like That. So we have this sweater that Naya is wearing. It has a little detail here. I don't remember if it is just a random detail, if it's a letter. I don't know what it is, but I think it's a really nice touch on what is clearly like a plain sweater. This is exactly how I would wear it. I would, and this color I would literally make. I'd put it over a tank top, not a t-shirt probably. I mean, like what I'm wearing now, even is just a sweater over a sports bra. But this is knit with big enough needles, or is airy enough that I would definitely wear something under it. But definitely caught my eye. Really enjoyed that. Would knit it right now. And then Charlotte's daughter Lily is 17 in the show, so she's got very youthful looks, very youthful but fashionable looks. Always hats are going to catch my eye, even though I don't really make hats. This appears machine knit, but I believe this is a heart. And then I really appreciated the little detail of the contrast color. Looks like it was like whip stitched over it at the end, or something that looks whip stitchy. If it was, I don't know how machine knitting works, but very fun. I love a good folded brim hat, especially ribbed, and that was very inspiring. I really want to say too, she was wearing fingerless gloves in this scene, but I couldn't find any pictures. It's really hard to like Google things, and in doing this project, I'm like, I'm gonna have to always, like, if I clock a knit that is inspiring or I want to talk about, I'm gonna have to just stop whatever I'm doing, or stop Steve if he's playing a game or whatever, so I can get a picture, so I don't have to figure out what episode it was in, find the episode and record it, because I have done stuff like that before, and I didn't for this specific thing. I tried really hard to stick to knits that I could find online, but you know. This other sweater that Lily is wearing is, again, it's like a thicker lace. This really strikes me as like a James N. Watts style sweater. Honestly, it's probably not, the holes aren't big enough, I feel like, but like, yeah, very, very James N. Watts to me. And so it caught my attention and made me want to add it to the inspo here. And then lastly, this one's really cool. I like how she styled it. I'm actually, like, the sweater that I'm wearing right now is also tucked in like that, like a little bit more symmetrical than the way that Lily has it tucked into her jeans here. But this looks like a drop stitch sweater, a very fun design drop stitch. Like, the drop stitches look like little feathers or leaves. That would be a really, really fun knit. If you've never done drop stitches before, I highly recommend doing any project with drop stitches. It is such a fun way to do a knit, and it's very satisfying to do the drop stitches, as long as you didn't accidentally mess it up and forget to create a drop stitch scenario, if you like blocked it somehow or something. But yeah, this sweater also caught my eye. And then lastly, Billy's character is really eccentric and dresses all mismatched on purpose. Like, he is married to an up-and-coming fashion designer, and he has such an eclectic style. It's always so fun. I just was really drawn to this granny square bucket hat. Again, not my style at all. I just really don't think I can pull off bucket hats, but I love anything that is made out of granny squares, like purses, hats, other kinds of bags. I mean, blankets, of course, sweaters, vests, all very, very fun. So I had to include Billy's hat. So that's everything I have for Sex and the City. Again, like, I didn't want this to turn into just all knits that I find in all TV shows, because Sex and the City has tons of them. I cut out even a few from And Just Like That. And Just Like That has such good knits, but I didn't want to put anything that was knitted, just a few. The next show, oh, I forgot. I added one more bonus, just a full out ensemble from Charlotte. So first of all, she's wearing what? Like, this was like a wool coat, and then she's got really cute textured gloves, fingerless gloves, nice and like bunchy, because they seem like they're super long. And then she's wearing a probably almost certainly machine knit scarf, but still a knit scarf, and then a little slouchy hat. And then her like felted Burberry earmuffs, and then even her purse looks textured. I don't think it actually is knit. It looks like it's leather, but it looks like it fits so well with this sort of like fiber themed outfit, and so I had to include it. Love a good coordination. I am not organized enough to have everything coordinate and match. Everything is always mismatched on me, a different color hat, different color scarf, different gloves, but I love the idea. It's very inspiring and very, it's just so nice and neat and put together. So I had to include this whole outfit for Charlotte. Next, that 70s show. So, caveat, of course, Danny Masterson, jailed for life, etc. Not a great person. Character, Hyde, not the same. So, I did want to call out that 70s show is another one of those shows where characters often wear things more than once and in different ways, and it's not a big deal. It feels very natural and normal. And again, there are lots of knits in that 70s show, but I wanted to pick out a few of like my favorites. So this first one that Jackie is wearing is like a little vest and hat ensemble. So this does look like knitting. The vest maybe could be crochet, but I assume if the hat's knit, the vest is also knit. But it looks like any yarn you could buy from Joann's, right? Like a short brim, big needles for what looks like maybe a worsted weight or Aran weight yarn, and then that vest, the matching vest, and you can see like the pooling on it and everything. It's just, I don't know, it just feels so 70s, right? Or just so like traditional grandma made this for me kind of thing. And while it's not something that I would knit, I just really appreciated the coordination that they did for Jackie in this episode. Jackie often wears knits, and it's never ever talked about like that she has anyone making knits for her. There's a whole storyline where she's alone, like her dad's in jail and her mom is just absent. Like they never reference like grandparents or anyone else who are around. And so it's interesting. I don't know where she gets all these clothes, especially as someone who is judgmental and cares about fashion, and she does like have tons of knits, including, for example, in later seasons, this granny Afghan. Again, just seems like a yarn that you could get at any big box store. I hope everyone has the experience of going to their grandma's house and having an Afghan. It's funny because I've always had Afghans around, but no one I knew knit or crocheted. The Afghan that I'm really thinking of was my like great grandma, like my stepdad's grandma, I think, if I'm thinking of the correct one. And it was a brown and orange Afghan, of course, probably Red Heart yarn, and I think it was knit. It was knit in not a chevron, but like in, I don't know, what is that called? The up and downs. but it's like brown and orange, that sort of like lime green that was reminiscent of the 70s and 80s, or yellow. Those are the colors of Afghans that I always imagine, that I remember growing up. And this hot pink and white is a very nice touch. I had to include this little fisherman's rib sweater that Stephen is wearing, that Hyde is wearing in this. I mean, how can you ever say no to a fisherman's rib sweater, or fisherman's sweater, not fisherman's rib? Highly detailed, super cabled, extra cozy looking, just classic. There's not that much you can say about it. It just is a really fun, cool sweater. I would have loved to have worn that. Next is the Stevens sweater that they said that Kitty knit him, which is really funny because you never, as far as I'm aware, ever see Kitty actually knitting in the show. But she supposedly knit this sweater for him. It's hard to tell if it's duplicate stitch or if it is, I'm trying to count how many stitches that is. I guess stranded, right? But it looks like you wouldn't even need to catch any floats based upon the distances between. So if that's what you were doing. But I'm such a sucker for these like cute name sweaters, whether it's a full name or an initial. I really enjoy it. So like my Steve, my fiance, has said that he would absolutely take this exact sweater, and it's just like a basic, like, is that a raglan? I think it is. It is interesting. I'm looking at like this like detail here. Like, is it one of those like rectangle shoulders? I've never knit one of those before. I'd have to like rewatch that section. He does put it on, so I could get a better look at it. But either way, I love the classic look of this chart, and it's just so fun. I don't know. I just really like it. And yeah, so I would absolutely love to make something like this. Very fun. And lastly, this scarf. In this picture, I feel like it doesn't look knitted, but in person, on my gigantic TV, it does look knit, whether that's machine knit or hand knit. It does look knit. And every single time. So this is like a scarf that Eric wears in multiple seasons, multiple times. This is like his scarf. Every time it comes up, it catches my eye. I'm like, whoa, what is that? I need to make that. Like it's like a marled oatmeal with like 4 stripes. I think it's like that red and like kind of a pink, and I think that's blue, and then maybe like a green or a yellow. I don't know what it is. They're just like a couple rows of stripes and just a plain scarf, but it just hits me every time. I want it. It has fringe. It is a tube. It's not a single layer. It's a double layer, and it just is like a very classic piece. And it's so funny because it's such a nothing scarf in the show. It's never referenced or anything like that, but he wears it, and every time he wears it, I'm like, I want that scarf so bad. So yeah, that's that. And I could not find a good screenshot of this because it is, again, such a nothing scarf, and I didn't want to go into episodes and try to find it. But suffice to say, trust me, it's a good scarf. The 70s Show does really have good knits. So if you watch the show, keep an eye out on it for any good knits. Let me know if you have any that I did not mention that caught your eye. The next show that I'm going to talk about is Parks and Rec. Now, I only put a couple things on here. There are more knits within the show, but the 2 that I always think about are first, I'm actually going to talk about Anne's Afghan. So Anne's Afghan in this show is iconic. It shows up, it's on her couch, and Anne does have a few things around her house, like random crochet things. This for sure does have patterns out there that people made. I don't know if it matches up with the colors exactly. I feel like there's much more like purple and pinks in the ones that I saw, not as much of this sort of like, is it chartreuse? Sort of like a, no offense, it's just, like, I love this Afghan, but when I'm looking at it right now, I'm like, that looks like cat puke. But anyway, like, you know, it's just like big granny squares all put together, and just classic. I never owned or had anything that was granny squares, but it's like the quintessential cozy Afghan to me. And so it's something that I definitely want to make something like this at some point in my life. And again, I just love things that are inspired by shows or movies or whatever, that I would want to add. Be like, this is modeled after Anne's Afghan in Parks and Rec. And then the other thing, oh my god, is Mona Lisa's headband. So this is just, again, like, I don't know, red heart yarn, some random yarn. Just made a thick headband. And then this looks like they put, they sewed on like fleece, or like velour ears for like a cat, and then embroidered on whiskers and a little nose. And it's just so random. Who made that? I love it. The first time I saw it, I was like, oh my god, I need to make that right now. Like, it seems so easy and so fun and so basic, and I want it now. I didn't notice the ears at first, and I can't sew, but I could probably hand sew something like that if I really wanted to. But yeah, very fun. Mona Lisa's headband. Not too much to say about it. Very Lisa Frank. Very like quirky and classic her character, so definitely clocked that, caught my eye. The next show, The Office. So there again, The Office is a show that has tons of knits, and characters are constantly wearing knits. I just, again, tried to pick a few that really caught my eye. Most of them are Pam, but a lot of the characters do wear knits at various points in the show. This scarf that Pam is wearing, I believe in season 2, does have a pattern that exists for it. It is a very famous knit, nice, and like, again, it looks kind of scrappy, random, busy, and for some reason, like, that just really draws people in, including me, as something that you want to make or want to have. So in looking at it from here, it's like, is that really knit, or is it like a faux knit? Does it just look knit? But either way, the knit version honestly would be way cooler anyway, even if it wasn't an actual knit. So yeah, Pam scarf does exist. You can find patterns for it on the internet right now. This cardigan with a gigantic button, this to me seems extremely commercially knit, and I just took a screenshot where the her quote is, or her like line is over it. It says like, "Oh, thanks, my mom knit it for me." I don't think this is hand knit, but it could be you could hand knit something very similar. I also have a machine knit cardigan that is very similar to this. It doesn't have a button, and this looks like one of those like fabric buttons, or buttons over it. And then the like cabling on the arm. The sweater that I have, I don't think has cabling on the arms. Oh, and it also has, it's a shawl collar or whatever, folded over collar, but very similar. Love a nice big thick cable with some garter, so caught my eye for sure. This fisherman's rib, I was actually wondering if this is the exact same sweater that Steven is wearing in that 70s show. I don't think that they share wardrobes between shows, but it's like a very, very classic, like, is it the same? I'm like, okay, chevrons. Okay, no? Maybe. It looks like it's exactly the same. But this sweater is like iconic in the show because Andy wants it. He makes him feel like a fisherman, etc. And like, I don't blame him. I relate. I would do the same thing. So, again, love a good fisherman sweater. There's nothing more to say. Just a good texture. Love cables. That kind of thing. This sweater that Pam is wearing, the screenshot, this is a GIF that I took a screenshot of. This is a knit sweater. It's obviously, I assume, not hand knit, but a very nice fold over collar, and I really like the cable details and then the little texture detail in between. This sweater catches my eye every single time this episode comes up. Part of it is because it's the bright red, but like a solid color for cable details is just like very satisfying and very accentuating the detail and the texture. And lastly, oh no. Oh, okay. I'm going to play this. I hope that it captures the sound. Wow. It's like the Nation of Islam down here. So in this scene, Val has knit beanies for everybody, and Nate has it's a cabled beanie, so it has two cables. It has a cable up here and a cable up here, and then the rest of it is like, it's like ribbed here, and then plain in the middle, and then like it looks like a 2x2 rib. And then she knit Daryl a looser slouchy beanie to go over his afro hair, and everyone else is just wearing like what look like plain beanies. We don't get to see them up close or anything, but still, I just love the idea that they have a character that's not just Phyllis. So Phyllis is like, you know, a white middle-aged character who is like a sort of basic knitter, knits, you know, like scarves out of multicolored yarn, and you know, like oven mitts that are like considered like cheap grandma things, like they're just, you know, kind of made the butt of the joke. And then they have Val, who is like a hip trendy character, young, right? And so she says right after this, like, don't hate, I like to knit. And I don't know, I just like that just like, it wasn't a huge plot point in the show other than Darrow was just trying to figure out if Val liked him like he liked her. But I love the idea that Val is like, I'm gonna knit hats for everybody on my team as their foreperson, you know. It's just nice to see knitting within the show. And next is Poker Face. So I could not for the life of me find other screenshots of Natasha Lyonne's character in knits, but she wears lots of really like quirky, eccentric clothes. So I just took a screen grab of her cardigan in the beginning of the show. It is not the kind of thing that I would knit, but it definitely caught my eye, like the geometric pattern, the mosaic sort of look. Looks cozy, heavy. She is often in like the desert, and just felt very like iconic and the kind of thing that other people I know would want to make. And then later, her character as well as Stephanie Sue's character are wearing these hand knit hats. Again, not my style. I would not have like thick cables like this, like big poofy textures. I have a really small head, and it doesn't like go back. Like it's like, I don't say flat, but it is kind of flat in the back, but it's not like big and rounded. And so something like this would just make me look like a cone head. But I still really appreciated the touch that it's hand knit. And then Stephanie Sue's also looks hand knit as well. It's just like a chunky ribbed brown and blue hat. So I just really appreciated those in this show. You thought I was only going to do live action? Nope, not at all. I'm doing cartoons also. Adventure Time references knits a lot, more often than you'd think, and the shows are only episodes are only 11 minutes long. But because of it being the way it's animated and stuff, you don't actually often see any amount of texture. But like, for example, this sweater that Finn is wearing, it specifically says that Princess Bubblegum knit it for him and embroidered that heart on. And the idea is that it protects him because it is made with love. And so it was like a real plot point in the episode. But there is one episode, and it's so blurry, one episode where Jake is knitting an outfit for BMO. No reason. The show's really random in a lot of ways. It's so funny. This screen grab, it's like blown up. Like this is like, BMO was really small in this scene. It was just like flashed for a second of BMO wearing the outfit. So I took a screen grab of the in progress, and like you get to see Jake knitting with 2 straight needles, knitting up little booties. I really love the idea that you can see the differentiation between the heel and the toe. But I really like that it shows like a little cabling, a little texture here, some plain, like, you know, probably some purl and some knits, you know, like it's just, I love it. It just warms my heart, and it really looked like knitting. like they actually kind of got it right. Like I know a lot of places we make fun of people in shows for not actually doing anything remotely like knitting, and pretending that they're knitting. So having Jake knit and then have it like be these fun little cute little textured cable things is just made my day when I saw that. And then also I just wanted to get like a screen grab of, they have holiday episodes, and they did say that these are knit sweaters, and characters each got to have them. So I just wanted to show the characters wearing their knit sweaters. My favorites are Peppermint Butlers. I love this one. Nice fun little color work. Obviously lots of this color work is impossible, but still, that's not the point. It's the thought that counts. I also really like, they're all sort of like, or like the knit scarf here, the knit scarf that Lumpy Space Princess has. Just very cute. Adventure time. Great fashion. Oh, and this little hat with little ear flaps, and this like cute little colorwork scarf. Perfect. And then lastly, I just put literally any anime. Like, anime does everything better. They do food better, they do clothes better, they do hair better, they do everything better. But it was actually really hard for me to find specifics of what I was looking for, because so many people cosplay as anime characters, so I just couldn't find it. So I just looked for anything that I could, for like TV shows. There's, I think, at least one movie in these screen grabs, but I just want to show like fun little plaid scarf, this whole outfit, little like Fair Isle on the gloves, and a little textured cabled scarf here, this sort of knit top, little negative ease going on here. Each of these really fun scarves that could easily be made. I mean, I know you could argue that some of these are woven, but still, I'm gonna say knit. I particularly like on both of these, like this, you know, I don't know, I can't remember what this sort of style of shirt is called, but I really like, I like that style a lot. She's wearing a long sleeve underneath, it looks like, but trying to give it a little knit texture here, and like a ribbed mock neck or turtleneck, and then same thing here where it's just like it's a vest and it is again supposed to be textured. This is from a movie. Again, you could argue that it's not probably knitting, but I'm gonna assume it's an Argyle knit, and I love it. This sort of sweater, I love. I mean, like, I've never ever made anything remotely like this. I've only ever like purchased machine knit versions of something like this, but I really like the idea of a nice thick striped wide turtleneck style sweater. And knitting is represented a lot in anime. I just included this gift because that's fun, because three knittings. These are some fun knit hats, and hopefully a knit scarf. Like, nothing to like super write home about, but I just like to include, like, hey, knitting actually shows up a lot in anime. And then lastly, I specifically wanted to call out this poncho. Like, so cool. Again, you could probably argue that it's a different textile, but I'm gonna say it's knitting. Like, color work and whatnot. It's like very detailed. I just love it. Very, very nice. Really appreciate the amount of effort that was put into that. That's all that I have for my famous TV knits. Again, I know there are lots and lots of shows that have knits. I know there are current shows that I haven't seen that are highly referenced right now for famous knitting. A couple that I did not include, apparently, like, K-dramas have really good knits in their shows. I mean, I feel like it's pretty well known that South Korean people have very good fashion sense, beautiful clothes, amazing knits. But I don't personally watch K-dramas at this time. I don't watch a ton of new TV. Honestly, I'm really referencing like the same shows that I watch. But I hear that it's great, and I have a friend who sent me some articles about the outfits. And then another one is, I guess, like Picard in the newer show, Picard or whatever, with Patrick Stewart, that he has the most choicest knits, and I believe that. I didn't include it because I don't watch it, and I didn't have time to go looking for additional things to add to talk about, but yeah, I appreciate you hanging out with me while we talked about some famous knits. I want to hear what you think. Do you watch TV shows or movies or whatever to get inspo for knits, or do you notice knits in shows? Have you ever made anything that is similar to a show that you have seen? Or do you have anything in your queue that you want to make? Are you inspired by anything that I've shown you today? I would love to hear. And stay tuned. This is, again, going to be a part of a 3-part series. We're going to have famous TV knits, famous movie knits, and famous video game knits. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.